Good day, everyone, and welcome to Different Stages Radio. I'm your host, JJ, broadcasting from Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. And on today's show, our guest leads a band from the Okanagan Valley who have a brand new album called Dirt coming out on May 3rd on Off White House Records. They will also be playing an album release show in Vancouver on May 23rd, as well as a few other cities throughout British Columbia. Please welcome my guest from the band Down the Lees, Laura Lee Schultz. How are you?
Good. How are you? Thanks for having me on.
I'm doing well, thank you, and thanks for making the time. We put this together last minute. I think
After.
we have somebody to blame at your PR company, huh? Who's
Yeah,
been
exactly.
somebody's doing their job.
Someone's doing their job, really pushing it. So that's great. Yeah.
That's awesome. So, brand new album called Dirt coming out on May 3rd. You had a previous album, 2019,
Yep. It's called Bury the Sun.
correct?
Yep.
And what can you tell us about the new record, Dirt? Because I've given it one solid run through. I've listened to Douse or Deuce,
Douse.
Douse a
Yeah.
number of times, crushing. The album is just dense, dark, haunting, so much dynamics. What can you tell people who don't know about Down the Lees and what they can look forward to?
Well, it's hard to kind of nail down our sound. Um, Someone said at a show the other day, you are an alternative rock band with shards of metal. And I kind of relate to that because I have so many different aspects in terms of influences for me. This project started as a solo project. It was a recording project for many, many years. And I moved to Belgium in 2015, and then I got really inspired by the rock scene out there. I don't know if you know about all the bands out in Belgium, but it's off the hook over there. So it really inspired me to get new band members, and those band members helped me and influenced me with their post metal influences and prog rock influences. So it depends on who's actually coming on board with me, because I feel like creating music is a collective thing. So now with these new members that I have in the Okanagan Valley, we're currently based out of Kelowna, BC. I have new members, Andy and Chris. They help me create this next album, which is basically about resilience and the continued struggle that humans have right now with climate change and adversities and depression and all that stuff out of the pandemic, which is why you're pointing out that it's like haunting and driving, and because I really wanted to speak to that. So you can expect to be challenged. You can expect to be a little depressed, but also a little bit hopeful.
Well, I was wondering about that too, because it seems at times, is it therapeutic for you to put this together, or is it almost bring up more anguish after?
Oh
Like,
no, 100% therapeutic. I've
okay,
always used my music as a way to deal with all those demons. Just like somebody who's like writing down in a journal. I find music to be therapy for myself. So if I feel really in the dumps, like in the last few years has been really, really trying, I felt like I needed to get that out. And I find that lyrics and music go hand in hand in terms of kind of relay my feelings and just put it out there. It's kind of like, okay, that's it. That's my feeling. It's out there. Now I can move on. So
right.
that's what you're hearing and that's what you're feeling.
Because it seems, yeah, like you said, that what we've all gone through the last number of years and continue to go through is very excruciating. Um, but you have a very strong rhythm section. Were they a part of the creation, or was this pretty much your foundation, your ideas, and they kind of slid in towards the end? Or
Exactly.
yeah,
I kind of come up with the skeleton of it. It comes up with the guitar riff first, and that dictates how the song is going to go, and then the lyrics come in after. So I bring the skeleton to the band, and I say this is the kind of direction I want to go, and then they put their 2 cents on it, and then we form it that way. Douse took a long time. Douse was the first song that I wrote out of the pandemic when I was living in Ghent, Belgium. After months of being in lockdown, I was allowed to go to my jam space for the first time in months. And so I just came up with the riff and the drums, because I also play drums. And I came up with that, and then it was on hold for years as I moved back to Canada, and then I proposed it to the guys and said, "Hey, I think this could make a really good song," and so we kind of formulated that way.
Very good. And you said with earlier describing the band and the music, for people that are just maybe checking this interview out or hearing you for the first time, it may sound in some ways that it's a bunch of different things, which it is. There's definitely influences pulled from different areas, but I still found it a very cohesive listen. And I once again can't stress enough how much I love the hills and valleys and dynamics on it, that it still had a great flow to it. And even though I'm seeing that it's being billed as an EP, I'd say this is very, very close to an album, because seeing that it's, clocking in a little over 28 minutes, in some ways was more kind of the length of a traditional record back in the 60s and 70s.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so I don't want to discount it, because it seems the EP has become the thing the last number of years, and I feel that this immediately is much more than just an EP.
Yeah, I mean, originally it was only going to be a 5-song EP. We recorded it with Jesse Gander in Vancouver, who's done like Brutus and Ancients and Japan Droids, and just like a super rock star. So he helped us produce it. So those are the 5 songs with the new band members. But the last 2 songs were the first 2 songs I did completely on my own before I found these guys. And I wanted to tack that on because it was part of the process. It was part of my journey from living in Belgium through the pandemic, trying to build a life in Kelowna again. And I just felt like I needed to put that on there as well. So that's why it ended up turning out to be sort of an album, a long EP.
But I find the closure of the album, like it just seems to fit. Like it just seems like, oh, it's like it was supposed to be there. It's not just
it was like it was supposed to be there.
Yeah. Exactly. Cool.
Yeah.
And you mentioned Jesse from Rain City Recorders, and you mentioned how he's worked with Brutus, and you played with Brutus. You've had a pretty busy last month and change. You had that Brutus show in Vancouver on April 6th, and then you had a quick turnaround show in Kelowna, wasn't it? The next night with
it was the next night with Chastity. Yeah.
How was that weekend for you?
Oh yeah, busy but awesome. It had been a while since we played in Vancouver, but also playing at the Pearl, it was very exciting to play such a big venue. And usually people don't go to opening acts. They kind of wait till the headliner, but we had a substantial crowd for us. And so that was very exciting to see that people are starting to pick up their ears and realize what we can do.
Well, I'm one of those people, so I'm picking up my ears now.
Yeah, so nice.
Had I known a month and change ago, I definitely would have been there. So when I saw that you have a number of shows happening throughout British Columbia in May this month, so I will have a chance to see you on May 23rd at Green Auto Body in Vancouver. You also have shows, album release shows in Penticton.
Yeah, we're having a Penticton show on May 3rd. And then the following day we are doing, I spearheaded a fundraiser for a DIY venue called BBDB's in Vernon. And she's an amazing lady. She really tries to make it happen in her conservative town to have this DIY venue, and she needed some help. So I decided to talk to a lot of bands, and it's a big fundraiser to get people out there. So we're doing that. And then the Green Auto Show, like you mentioned. And then the next night we're going to be in Victoria at Little Fernwood. And then the next night we're going to be in Nanaimo at the Vault. So that's kind of what our May is looking like.
Not too bad. And other further plans happening maybe later in the year? Is there any sort of tours you're looking to do on your own, or maybe jumping on as support on something a bit more substantial?
Yeah, we're looking into some stuff, and we have a couple festivals, but we can't announce them yet. So I wish I could. Can't tell you.
Armstrong, probably.
Can't tell you. So we do have those kind of in the wings, but we also kind of want to focus on writing in the summer, because we really worked very hard to get this EP to fruition last year. We recorded it with Jesse in October, and as you know, with promotion it takes a very long time, and playing shows and booking shows, so we haven't really had any time to write. And we thought we would take the opportunity to write over the summer because unfortunately our season in the summer is a wildfire season summer. So we get stuck inside anyways. So we're going to maybe write more about climate change.
So it might turn into a box set then.
Might turn into a box set, yeah.
This will be more than enough material to do that.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh man. I wanted to bounce back briefly to give people a bit more of a backstory for your time in Belgium and
Sure.
and that whole hookup with Steve Albini. Like that's ridiculous. Those who don't know Steve, he's worked with little bands called Nirvana. You may have heard of them.
And PJ Harvey, you might know her.
No, maybe not. But then there's those two upstart guys, Robert Plant.
Yeah, Robert Plant.
Jimmy Page.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
he talked about that in the studio. Actually,
yeah,
it was very surreal. I mean, if you're an indie musician who's has cut their teeth in the '90s like I did, I've had a dream of recording with him forever. And like I said, living in Belgium just really ignited my fire to perform live with other musicians. So I found a couple of musicians, Quentin and Jonathan. And I basically had the songs written, but I just needed some flavor. And so we just rehearsed like fucking crazy. And then I just called him up. I just called Steve up. I said, look, I love you and I want to record with you. And he said, yeah, just send me your stuff. So the thing with Steve is that he doesn't produce, he records. That's always been his mantra. He doesn't produce. He treats it as a service. So he just knows how to get the proper mic placement, how to get the best sounds. So he's like, yeah, sure, just come down. So we just holed up for a week, recorded and mixed it in a week. And that was also a really great experience for me because you really have to know your craft. You really have to know your parts succinctly because it was fully analog. It was taped. We did it on vinyl and everything, fully analog. And so it's not like you can copy and paste and, you can't do that. So he would say, are you sure you want to move on to the next song? Because it'll cost you more and we have to read the whole thing again. I'm like, okay. So I had to make decisive decisions. I had to be very, prepared for the whole thing. Also at the same time, I'm like, so what was it like to record with PJ Harvey? And he'd tell me a story about recording with her or recording with Robert Plant, what it was like for that. Or Dave Grohl texted him while we were in the session. He's like, oh, he invited me to his birthday party. I'm like, what is happening to me right now? So there was like the celebrity thing that was kind of like blowing me out of the water, but also I'm trying to be like a professional at the same time and do what I need to do. So it was an amazing experience for sure.
And probably so many intangibles, just little things you're picking up along the way that it's like, okay, as far as respect and understanding and getting you more ready for your next album. And
yeah,
that's incredible.
Yeah. And the crappy thing about it is that we recorded it, released it, then the pandemic happened.
Yeah.
Like months later, we had tours booked in Europe. We were asked to go on tour with Sisters of Mercy.
Yeah, that's huge.
We were playing with Helms Ali. We had another show booked with BRUTUS. And we were going to we expanded to France and the Netherlands and stuff. So our roster was like quite full when the pandemic happened. So it was quite the blow.
To you and thousands others, but yeah.
Oh yeah.
It still doesn't make it that much easier, but at least, yeah.
Yeah, at least everyone is in the same boat and it wasn't my fault. Yeah.
Back to climate change, huh?
Back to climate change, yeah.
So May 23rd, Vancouver, where can people get information on Down the Lees? How can we buy your album? I know I've put it up on the differentstagesradio.com page. Right. Where you can go to, will be in the new arrivals now. It's currently, or was in the pre-order section, getting it through your Bandcamp page. Perfect. You'll have physical copies of both albums or just the one at your upcoming shows? Both.
Yeah. Perfect. Yeah, I have both albums at the show and you can buy everything off of our Bandcamp and we have lots of merch at our Bandcamp. But we also have a special poster that you can get. We commissioned an artist from Kelowna to do a special poster for Dirt, where the partial proceeds go to the BC Wildfire Recovery Fund. So we haven't figured out how we'd actually mail those yet. So right now they're only available at the shows, but if there's higher demand, we'll probably get some more done.
Nice.
Yeah.
And also, just before we go, I wanted to ask you, you guys, you won an award from the Okanagan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
Okanagan was a Screen or Okanagan Film Festival?
It was the Okanagan's Independent Screen Awards, yeah. Which was crazy. So we made a video, and we submitted the video, the music video, because there was music video awards, and so it was nominated, and then we won for best song, and the video hadn't even been released yet. Like, yeah, so. We're like, yeah, I feel like that song, when we were in the studio, we're like, oh, we have something here. This has a really awesome feel to it. Like you could feel it in a song. You just inherently, you can't describe it, but you just feel it. And that's how we felt with that song. So we're like, oh yeah, okay. Yeah. So yeah, that was very exciting.
That's accurate though, because there is many of feels on that on Dirt. Because that was the thing. As soon as I threw it on, starting with the title track, I'm like, what is this? Just crushing and punishing. Nice. And so, yeah. But it all.
That's life, man. That's life. Yeah, crushing and punishing.
Exactly. So this could be months or so until one can fully digest and comprehend what's going on. And that's what a record is supposed to be. Because awesome. I find sometimes those that hit you too quick kind of leave the ears too fast as well.
Absolutely. My favorite albums are the ones that take a while to digest, to understand, and then they're just in my roster for decades.
There you go. So Down the Lees, the album is called Dirt, out on May 3rd on Off White House Records. You can get it through differentstagesradio.com. You can get it through the Down the Lees Bandcamp page. Please check out their multiple dates throughout British Columbia in May as album release shows for the album Dirt. We will look out for festival dates and hopefully more dates to come. Thank you very much, LL, for being.
Thank you very much, JJ.
With JJ on Different Stages Radio.